127 fatally shot and 68 injured by security forces in 2021. Government grants increase in minimum wage. Cousins killed in crash on Sh00t Hill. "127 fatally shot and 68 injured by security forces in 2021. Indicom is reporting that 127 persons were fatally shot by members of the security forces last year, and a further 68 were shot and injured. The fatalities represented a 10% increase when compared to the 115 who were killed by the security forces in 2020, while a 26% reduction was recorded, with 92 people shot and injured over a similar period. The disclosure was made by Assistant Commissioner at Indicom, Hamish Campbell, during a press conference. Campbell said the police accounted for 118 of the 127 fatalities recorded last year, while soldiers accounted for 9. He said the increase in fatal shooting for 2021 marks the second consecutive year the figures have climbed, noting that in 2019, 86 persons were fatally shot by the security forces. Campbell said since January 19, fatal shootings have occurred, 2 more than the entire month of January and February last year. February is not yet concluded, but there's evidence of the same early increase in the pattern to that of 2017-2018. When by the end of January-February, over 20 people had been fatally wounded, and at the end of the year, the total was 168 and 137 respectively, Campbell said. However, he noted that there is a longer-term trend of a significant fall in fatal shooting by the security force. Government grants increase in minimum wage. Minister of Labor and Social Security, Sh00t, has announced a 28.5% increase in the national minimum wage from $7,000 to $9,000 for a 40-hour work week. In addition, security guards will receive $10,500, up from $9,700 per 40 hours work week. The increases, which were approved by Cabinet on Monday, will come into effect on April 1, Sh00t said. The minimum wage is the least amount of money any employer should pay their worker per week. The current minimum wage was set in 2018. The new rates are a result of the recommendations from the National Minimum Wage Commission, which conducted public consultations and submitted its recommendation to the ministry as far back as 2020. The fact of the matter is that at this time, Jamaica was at the stage where the pandemic had set in, and we were losing thousands of jobs because of the challenges that it posed, and the decision was taken then that in the face of these challenges, it would be best to take the necessary action in order to get the labor market back on stream, said Sh00t. The minister apologized for the delay in the increase, adding that it would have been wonderful if the increases were much further. However, he said the increase depended largely on the pace of the recovery of the Jamaican economy. We thank God for the pace it has recovered so far, and we have expectations that things will improve to enable this benefit to be even more meaningful in the near future, he said. Cops accept wage offer as sacrifice for Jamaica. Chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation, Corporal Rohan James, says members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force accepted the 4% wage offer from the government as a sacrifice to the people of Jamaica. According to James, who was speaking at the Ministry of Finance on Tuesday at a session for the signing of the wage agreement, the Federation, which is a union for the JCF members, is not satisfied but agreed to the deal on information provided by the government. He said the Federation would be holding the government to its promise of a better deal with the restructuring of government workers' compensation, which is expected to begin next year. It has been a long road in coming to this position, and the Federation has endured a lot of painstaking discussion. And we believe that we are at this position. It is not that we are satisfied, but we are making a sacrifice in the interest of national security and the people of this country, James said. He added that at the end of the day, the Federation will ensure that the membership gets what they so desire in the interest of all parties and the people of Jamaica so that they can serve and protect. The Federation agreed to accept the government's wages on Monday, which will see a 4% increase in wages and salaries. Salaries-related allowances for the contract period April 1, 2021 to March 31st, 2022. According to James, the police have already agreed to 16 of the 63 benefits that were in the proposal, and he is hoping that discussions for others will be completed shortly. Minister of Finance and Public Service Dr. Nigel Clark believes that police inking the deal after lengthy negotiations will set the stage for the start of the implementation of the restructuring of government workers' compensation. He said the police are vital to Jamaica's economic development, and the agreement completes 98% of negotiations with public sector workers. The brave men and women who constitute the Jamaica Constabulary Force are on the front line dealing with the most complex of matters that affect all Jamaicans. The government of Jamaica places their issues and their welfare at the center of all considerations, he said. Policeman detained in St. James in connection with lottery scamming. Another member of the police force was this Sunday detained after being accused to be in connection with a ring of lottery scamming in the parish of St. James. It is also understood that the ring of scamming operation that the officer was detained was being operated by the now incarcerated former policewoman Shelly-Ann Allen. According to the Sunday Gleaner, who initially published the story, this officer that was arrested was a member of the Jamaica Constabulary Forces Special Strike Force Unit. The now detained policeman was recognized to be a constable in the force and was detained during investigations that were being executed by overseas authorities as a further probe into Allen's case. He is said to be attached to the Coral Gardens police station. More investigations are currently being carried out by the relevant authorities on the matter to uncover more information. Cousins killed in crash on Sh00t Hill. A crash involving a motorcycle, a Toyota Mark X and a Toyota Coaster bus has left cousins Omar Hewitt, 25, and Nevada Brown, 21, dead. The crash happened on the Gutters Main Road in Sh00t, Manchester, around 9 a.m. It is reported that both men were traveling on a Champion CG200 motorcycle when they were hit by the Toyota Mark X sedan. Eyewitness reports allege that both men were flung in the air and landed on the windscreen of the Toyota Coaster bus. Both the Toyota Mark X and the Toyota Coaster bus were traveling up Sh00t Hill. The motorbike with the deceased men were traveling in the opposite direction. The victims lived in the nearby Peppers district and were employed to Austin's welding shop as welders.